right, in 5, 4, 3,
Cheap flights.
Cornbread.
How's it going, everyone? This is Frank Cavone, the Cheap Flights and Cornbread podcast.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Frank Cavone, and you are watching episode 49 of the Cheap Flights and Cornbread podcast. We're here just kind of live, kind of living, just some classless bastards. And we got a very special guest, a long overdue guest. We've wanted to have you on since kind of live, kind of living. Now we're in Cheap Flights and Cornbread era. Ladies and gentlemen, Brad Laustrup, everybody.
Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on, man. We got a lot to talk about today. Want to catch up with you just in general and talk about just some changes at what we might see as a trend over the next 20 years here in upstate New York. But as all of you know, you can watch and listen to the Cheap Flights and Cornbread podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube podcasts. And you can actually watch this as a premiere every single Wednesday at 7 o'clock. It's going to change for the next couple of weeks because we will be out doing adult things.
Yes.
Watching our buddy get married. So at a very expensive cost. So thank you, Connor. We can't wait to see you. You're gonna have to drive out there. So usually we start this podcast off by just talking about how our week's been, and we're coming off, let's just say 4th of July. What month am I in right now? Every day feels like a holiday right now in the summer because we're in fucking upstate New York. But how have you been, man? How's your week been?
Pretty good, yeah. I'm in the same boat as you. It's like July 4th, and apparently this week was the end of school, so that's fun and exciting. I didn't know that because I haven't been in school for a while, but so yeah, I relate to you on that for sure. But just enjoying the nice weather and
Hell yeah, man. What about you, Brett?
Man, it's all been a fucking blur. Like, part of my brain's still in Vegas, trying to figure out where I put like all my money that I lost, and like trying to figure out if they ever caught me smoking a joint at the Grand Canyon, and like that's really about it.
Hey, that's all right. That's somewhere to start. What about you, Doug?
I mean, it sounds like since you got out of the state, you might be good with the Grand Canyon joint. I've been doing pretty good, just working a lot. I have 5 kids in my apartment right now, and they're savages, but they're so cute. So I'm a cat dad, and that takes up a lot of my time nowadays.
There you go. Awesome. New Instagram coming out. Cat daddy.
Are they still like a pretty active symphony?
Not as much, but like now they make like sounds of them just like running around, like battling each other and just knocking over everything they can in my household.
In the middle of the night, right?
All day, all night. Like I got home last night and like they were just like 5 little crackheads just fucking running around
what time
everywhere.
Did you get home last night?
Like 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And you feed them, you're like, hopefully, they get all filled up and take a nap. No, they just get so full of energy, they're ready to go.
Have you given catnip yet?
No.
Young man.
I do have a little White Claw like cat toy that's like has catnip in it, and like a couple of them like pass out with it like right next to them, and it's so fucking cute.
Oh, you gotta get each one of them their own flavor, dude.
I know, right? How about you, Frankie? What you been up to, man?
It's been somewhat of a blur, but I jotted it down so I can remember. First off, gotta give a shout out to Mahali's management team for having me on board last week for a Live at 5. It was a lot of fun, and I didn't even realize it, but my Aunt Vinny was working there. She was running my Aunt Vinny now works at the Palace. She does, part-time. She's a teacher, but she helps out at the Palace, and she was vending a Live at 5, and she said she saw us. I was like, why didn't you say hello? She's like, I don't know if I was like cool enough. I was like, what the fuck do you mean, Aunt Vinny? Because 2 days later, we went to go see Dead & Company together, and with my cousin Nick, but we'll get into that. But it was super fun working for Mahali, and after turning 30, I was just like, I was like, do I want to party or do I want to go out and do what I like doing and have a memory to cherish? So we diminished our memories the week prior to that, and so basically after Mahali, the next day went to Northland's Music Festival out in Swansea, New Hampshire. Got to meet Mike Gordon. That was really cool. Nothing more than a hey, how you doing type of thing. But then having a conversation with Rob Compa backstage, and I originally I thought it was just gonna be when you see a musician, you're just like, hey, how you doing? You keep walking. You don't want to bother them. And then I was like, hey, how you doing? He's like, good. He's like, hey, how you doing, man? And then like we started talking for like 5 minutes. And Dopapod's one of my favorite bands, and to be able to conversate with somebody like that was really, I don't know, that was like a birthday present in itself, because that guy has been a huge idol to me. But other than that, yeah, went to Dead & Company 2 days later. The biggest crowd since 1983 or 84 or 85.
83, exactly 40 years. June 18th, 83 to June 18th, 2023, exactly 40 years apart.
That's crazy.
I saw the
man.
pictures. They had the black and white one up there.
It's nuts. It was
cool.
just as packed as it looked. And
It
I
looked
literally
even more packed than the 83 show. Not
Dude,
gonna lie.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I will say though, watching a concert at SPAC, where the bathrooms are, looking at the screen, and then the show's happening this way. That's how packed it was. Like every inch of the lawn, all the way back to the back bathroom gates, filled.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like we went down for like the first 2 songs to go like sit on the lawn. Went it back up, and they were like, no way. And then yeah, but I mean, another successful 2-night run. They seem to have a great time. Yeah, now John Mayer's in a chair right now. He hurt his back playing guitar, sitting down. Joe Russo just sat in with them, which is really cool as well. But also want to give a big shout out to Angelina Valenti for having me do her music video yesterday. That was a blast. And just getting back on the grind, because right before we get into the gentrification of upstate New York, we do have to talk about Wild in the Trees 2023, October 7th and 8th. Brett's been right here, man. You've been doing probably the most work on like getting like this thing secured financially, because man, you don't stop. You don't sleep.
Dude, there's very few things that I'm really sure about when it comes to like, I don't know, my place and like not just Mirth Films, but like the world. But dude, I'll fight anyone to the death who thinks they're a better salesman than me.
You crush it. Like, it's funny that we have Brad here, because you could probably be a good damn.
Yeah, I was gonna say you'd be a great agent. you got to go get a drive.
I don't want
to
that much money from people, dude.
I do. Can I be a real estate agent?
Sure. Yeah.
Can we? Could we? I mean, we have enough time, dude. We're young. I mean, you just turned 30, dude.
Yeah.
We have time to really like flip our lives around.
Yeah, my dad became a real estate agent when he was like 50.
So the reason why we're stopping the podcast here, episode 50, is because we are all quitting Mirth Films to become real estate agents.
Yes.
But
welcome aboard.
To be fair though, like after have like dabbled in the industry a little bit, there was times like drives home, after shoot, like, dude, I could shoot this, make the money, I know how to talk to people, but I was like, and then I don't know, I just didn't want to take another test, man.
The drone test was enough, right?
That drone test.
Yeah.
This motherfucker gets, dude, I got like a 71. I like just passed by like 1 point. But I'm a bad test taker. This dude passed it with flying colors almost.
I don't want to say flying colors, yeah.
That was
it was just like
moment,
brown.
man.
I just barely passed. Yeah.
That changed my life, man.
That was a tough test. Like, it was like, I'm trying to fly a drone. It's like driving a remote control car.
Yeah.
But the stuff they make you know is like, if I'm gonna fly like a Delta jetliner, like,
exactly.
It's pretty crazy.
There's no differentiation with this test. It's an pretty much entry level like flight test. Then you got to study all these maps and shit that you'll just forget.
I got through with your help.
crazy.
Your help and
now,
the YouTube video there.
Big shout out to Tony and Chelsea Northrup.
So
yes, that was awesome.
Just as someone who doesn't know and still hasn't flown a drone yet.
Yeah.
So you have to take like, kind of like instead of a road test, you have to take like an air test.
Yes.
To do this.
Yeah.
So
If
you're
you
telling
wanna
me
do it
that you need
commercially.
more qualifications in order to fly a drone in a commercial setting than you do to dive 12,000 feet under the water.
Oh, to the
my
Titanic.
God.
But you get this flashy, cool piece of
Dude,
paper.
oh my God.
I pull this out sometimes.
I
holographic.
get some McLovin vibes off that.
Definitely, it's official.
Dude, that does look pretty dope.
And it's cool now. Before you used to have to take a test every 2 years.
Yes.
Now you don't.
Yeah.
Really?
You
It's
have
a
to
one
renew
in...
your certificate right through the FAA website, and because I thought, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
But huge shout out to Tony, Chelsea, Northrop. Anybody getting into photography, video, anything, they have one of the best YouTube channels for that. So definitely go check that out. That probably is one of their most viewed videos.
Yeah, their study guide was great. You can also like flip through all the chapters if there's something you don't know.
Yep.
The air maps were like a real pain in the ass, so they definitely got me through that for sure.
Yeah, and it could get pretty wild, just like the festival that we're throwing October 7th and 8th. And we are announcing the lineup sometime mid-July. While we know what it is already, we have to keep it kind of a secret, and our headliner is going to be announced in August due to NDA purposes. So, but we are very excited to share it with you, because this is a lineup that not only is for people who like smoking weed and jam bands or punk rockers on day 2, but this one's going to be for the skaters.
But this is
year.
primarily for people who smoke weed and like jam bands.
Yes. If you
Please
are
still
part
come.
of the 80K
Please,
fam,
yeah.
Make yourself there.
But there's also going to be we're a lot of big focus on the skateboarding side of things.
hell yeah.
And we've already been talking to Corner Skate Shop. There's going to be a brand new skate shop opening up in Upstate New York, so they're going to be helping us out. So shout out to Ian.
When do they open?
To be determined. I don't know that information.
Okay.
Soon.
Also
Hopefully.
under an NDA.
Right around the corner. You can say.
Right around the corner.
Yeah, and early bird tickets are on sale right now, $35. It's $15 off, or potentially $10 off the final price. But you are saving money, regardless with the ticket fee. And if you are wondering why the ticket costs more this year, is because we are putting more into this festival, and the value will be there. We can assure you.
Yeah,
that.
our budget is like almost 50%. We're gonna be putting about 50% more capital this time around than last year. And last year we did not know what the fuck we were doing.
Nope.
And it still worked out. So now that we have a grasp on what we're doing,
Yep.
we need more of your fucking money. And if you don't want to go through, it's through Eventbrite, right?
Yep.
Yeah, if you don't want to go through the Eventbrite website, you could hit up any of us, probably me, if you guys are in the greater Glens Falls area. If you want to pay cash for your weekend ticket, let me know. I'll put you on our online registry, and it'll be as good as gold. We'll keep your name on a list, and just come by and say you're that person, and we will honor the cash purchase. To those of you like me who hate using a fucking debit card for anything.
Oh my God, I hate using a debit card for certain
People
things.
who don't carry cash on a given day piss me off.
I just hate using debit cards because
Won't survive.
because of Canon. This is my rant for the day. I actually wrote this down. I bought a $3,200 camera this past Saturday that got flagged by a third party as fraud.
Dude, can we just acknowledge the fucking Hornet that's on top of the...
Don't do that,
Don't do
dog.
that. It's
gonna
That's
make him mad.
literally the worst thing you
Yeah.
can do.
Just gotta let him chill.
Unless
He's
you
part
wanna
of the
get some-
podcast
Listen,
now.
did you
Oh,
learn...
he's a Pittsburgh
Did you
Steeler.
learn
That's right.
anything? Did you learn anything from the 24-hour podcast?
No.
You just
You
gotta
gotta be
vibe
one
with
of the
you gotta be
bees.
one with the bees, man.
You don't mess with the bees. The
Give 'em a
bees don't mess
paintbrush.
with you.
Be the next interview.
Although these ones are just here to hurt people.
Yeah,
I might
for
kill
real.
it. Just giving you guys a heads up. So
If you don't kill it, it's gonna
Peter,
fuck
don't
you
come
up.
at me.
Yeah, it's alright. Daddy's been waiting all day for this.
Oh god.
Yes,
Oh,
Steeler on Steeler.
I
Steeler on
learned
Steeler action,
The
yeah.
wrong way now. Definitely do not make a major purchase with a debit card, regardless if it's for your fucking
comes.
business. Because I had a situation where I sold my Sony. I'm not a Sony shooter anymore, by the way, everybody. I'm now completely Canon, and why? Because longevity, Canon is going to be the company that has the biggest market share. They already do. Sony has 16%, and which is crazy to think. Yeah, Canon has like 65 to 70%.
Where's Nikon at?
They're shit, man. I mean,
There's like two.
They still have a higher market share because of long-term
Like legacy.
within the camera business. But Sony's about to pass them. There's huge talks about Nikon potentially going under. But so I was like, I'm
Damn,
going
dude.
with the company that is going to ensure that I'm going to be able to shoot this product going forward, because these lenses are expensive. Nothing's cheap about it. But my fucking purchase got flagged. Had to cancel a shoot because my main camera that I needed, I couldn't use because I didn't have the right specifications for it. And the Sony was the one that had it. So I basically been sitting in limbo and like was waiting for a refund that basically got canceled by Canon the day I purchased it, and they never caught the cancellation. So basically the refund was just sitting there.
Oh, wow.
So I was so pissed. So I finally ordered the camera today. Really excited to be shooting in 8K.
Wow.
And I questioned if it would be useful at all. And fuck, it's going to be useful for so much, especially stuff like when we're doing green screen work, being able to work on in a 4K deliverable product, but have the 8K to contain that quality to crunch, because we do a lot of cropping, or just a lot of paid client work. I mean, 8K raw. I just bought like a $300 memory card just for this thing, proprietary. It's crazy, dude. But this camera's crazy. I've wanted it for a long time, and I got to buy it without spending any money on it, which is really nice. So, but fuck debit cards and cash. If you are going to buy a ticket, go right to Brett or one of us, or send us a message on the platforms, because we do check those. Same with the t-shirts too. Thank you to anybody who reached out about the t-shirts via Facebook Messenger. That seems to be working actually pretty well as a system. But other than that, just to keep it very, we've already said some details about Wild in the Trees, but there will be an after party. I'm only bringing this up because we already talked about it. There will be an after party after day 1, October 7th, at the Lagoon, 2 planets away. And if you don't know what 2 planets away is, listen to our podcast previous from this one, and also if you know James Woods, then that's all I gotta say. Terry Scoville, Mark Embledore, whatever.
God dang.
Yeah. Bless him. Whatever. So
It's a lot of talent.
so yeah, but we're gonna get into what you're here for today, and just to kind of glance over the state of Lake George, Saratoga Springs, and maybe just the effects of COVID and people moving and buying up at a time where there's a lot of fear. This is something that happened around 9/11, more at a grand scale now.
More than 9/11?
Maybe not.
That's a bold claim, sir.
Well, we'll let Brad say. But basically, it seems like after a catastrophic global event, that people tend to get nervous and want to move up to upstate New York for some reason.
Yeah, so there's a lot there. I know.
can give you more.
2000. Oh yeah, sure. 2009 was crazy. The Big Short. Everybody's seen the movie.
Best movie.
I don't think that's what's happening. COVID was just like something that we haven't seen in like a long time. I remember when everything first started to happen. My broker told me, he's like, it's a seller's market. It's only going to last like max 6 months. And here we are in year 3, going on year 4, and it's still a seller's market, shortage of inventory. And I think there's a lot of different factors that cause that to happen. You mentioned people moving up from the city. I actually was working with a client right before the pandemic started, and they actually were looking for a vacation property. They wanted something like in between like Killington and Lake George. So we found them a place right outside of Whitehall actually, and they closed the day before like everything got shut down. So they were the first of like the city people I would say that I had worked with, and it was completely un-pandemic related, but they were like super happy to have like a landing pad up here where it's not as densely populated. That was one of the big concerns with the pandemic. So there were a lot of people that followed suit and said, I'm not living down here, like being shut down and not being able to go anywhere, and living in like a small space. So that's
buy a vacation property in Granville.
That's right. Yeah. And not a lot of people think about that kind of stuff. So I mean, it definitely impacted the market that way with buyer demand. The other thing too is like prices down in the city in Long Island and everything, totally different than up here. I remember when I first started, I had a 1,300 square foot ranch listed in Glens Falls for $155, and you can't touch that now.
What's the new first time home buyers? I mean, we're all almost at it. What is that new for 253 now, right?
It's creeping up there, yeah. I mean, even like there's a lot of programs out there, but the programs don't really counteract for the price increases that have happened. So for instance, if you look at that same property that had sold in 2017 for $155, now it's probably like $215, $220, right around there.
Some of the guidelines probably are still meant for what that time was too.
Yeah. So that's one thing. It's just like it was really multiple offers. That's what happened. I had another experience with a buyer. We looked at a place. Well, we couldn't show, so we did shut down as an industry. It was like probably 2-week period, and we couldn't, or it was a 1-week period. We couldn't show any properties. The second week after that, we could show properties, but not with our clients. So we had to be there remotely, like on our phone, Zoom, you know, and people would buy houses like that. They would buy houses like essentially sight unseen, and it was just craziness. There was a property I showed out in Schuylerville that was, I think there was 13 showings the first day, like 12 offers at the end of the week, and they did best and highest. It sold for, I want to say 60, 70, 80 grand over list price. That was not uncommon.
And now, this is good background information, because there are certain things that will start trends, and a lot of that has to do with maybe the demographic. Not everybody from the city is, you know, made of money, right? There's
Sure.
a lot of middle class down in the city
Yeah.
that, you know, maybe people do want to move up here. Jobs become remote. Hey, I don't have to live here. I don't have to follow my dream and be in New York City anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There's that. And then there's also the other side of things, which is how a town perceives new people and demographics entering their area, their county, and how they're going to adjust their town to that. And you know, again, this couldn't go both ways, because there's people who think both ways about this. But the huge reason why we bring this up is because a very crucial, at least to me when I saw it, a very crucial decision made by a business owner in Lake George, New York, a business owner who's owned a business that we're not going to name just because I respect them, but in this situation I don't respect their decision, decided to take this long-running business, successful, who knows, we don't know behind the scenes, who are we to say, but basically is he's been trying to sell this property for some years now, a couple years, and it was unsuccessful. And so it seems like from the outside looking in that this person decided to take this property and turn it into something that could be profitable while still owning it, and that happens to be pretty much a villa condominium right on Lake George, right on the water. That's not the issue one bit. What is the issue though? The issue is the amount of things that get affected by a decision like that. One, turning the whole demographic upside down in Lake George. Two, not providing those things that people come to Lake George for. Or three, making Lake George unaffordable. Those people who come up to New Jersey that, hey, we complain about. Right now, they're our best friends, because unfortunately, not everybody has the money to get on an airplane and fly somewhere, to go somewhere. So Lake George was always a destination for a long time where you could go at any price point, no matter who you are, what walk of earth, as long as you could afford somewhat of a vacation, you could have a good time there. There's public beaches, cheap places to eat, pizza jerks, come on, you know?
Yeah.
But this has caused quite the uproar, and I think the reason why I have so much, I guess aggression's not the right word because that's a little extreme, but so much shame for this guy is because when you are in that top percentile, I feel like while you do have the right to do whatever you want, it's your property. Who the fuck are we even to be doing this podcast right now? But I feel like you do ethically have that, you know, you need to do what's right for the town. And if you're not doing what's right for the town, then get the fuck out of here.
I'll throw another cog in the machine too. Like, it's not just people that are coming up for themselves from downstate. It's also people kind of shifting to income properties and short-term rentals. I mean, I know Saratoga's been definitely inundated with that kind of stuff. People will buy a property for $500,000, no sweat off the back, because they'll rent it out for $1,300 a night, you know, and people pay it. So that's the other thing too. It's also like you were saying, they have the right to do whatever they want. It's like the free market economy versus, you know, how do we make things still, how do we allow there still to be inventory for first-time home buyers? How do we allow ourselves to like preserve the character of Lake George. I know like my dad actually owned a business in Lake George, and so that was something like he was a staple of what it was to come to Lake George. People were like, oh, I remember, going to the candy store and they had the player piano, and it was like a whole thing that kind of made like a staple of what it was like on Canada Street. I think the same thing is going on too with what you're talking about with that specific venue space. A lot of awesome bands have played there, and it was like, where are we going tonight? Where are we gonna hang out? There we go. Always a good band. And you're close to the water. Take a walk down the boardwalk afterwards too. It was really great. So I think that's definitely going to change the character of Lake George, not only for like us locals, but also for tourists too. You're going to see like a different side, and it's how do we allow people to do what they want to do, but also preserve what we like about the area where we live.
Right. I mean, people aren't going to be buying Lake George tees anymore. They're going to be wearing polo tees. There's going to be a polo store,
So it's funny you say that. Actually, in one of the articles on that location, the mayor talks about how he doesn't like the Dilligaff stores, and like how they give like a bad, I don't know what he has against Dilligaff, but he's got something.
I feel like there's a lot of locals
Dude,
like
what
that.
a weird thing to have a negative opinion on.
I mean, well,
yeah.
I think it's like that business owner isn't necessarily the most liked or best individual, and then like just like obviously it's your business, so you can put whatever you want in the windows, but like I feel like his thing is definitely trying to be like controversial. So it's like, I mean, when you think of Lake George, it's a nice family-friendly place, but then you walk by a couple shops and they're like, oh, what's that? And it's like very political on the like hot topics.
Yeah,
they're gonna learn today.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
While I give him the benefit of the doubt after working for Bohica Bill, he can go and take it in the ass, because he is a jerk. And while I would agree with the statement that you said, Brett, as a human being, that guy can drop off the face
But
of
does
the
it look
earth.
like he gives a fuck?
Definitely not.
And you
Definitely
know what?
not.
So
He
props
lives the
to
brand.
him.
Lives the brand.
But then you think about
That's being
all
authentic.
the, like you said, like we were talking about, the trickle down effect potentially. This is all this is all hypothetical. But think about the back streets. Me and you grew up there, right? I could tell you right now, my mom and I didn't have a lot of money. Like my mom was also a business owner. She went through troubles in life, and we made best. And thankfully I had my dad too to always support me. But like, it wasn't easy, But now it's like, dude, all those homes are probably gonna go up in price. I mean, they're gonna
They
be
already
treated
have.
just like the back streets here in Saratoga Springs.
I mean, especially with the short-term rental market too, that's something that's definitely changing real estate and the values on everything, because if someone can ROI and rationalize paying more for a property, they will. And I have a mixed feelings on it too. I had an investor that I was working with in Saratoga, and they purchased a couple houses, and they turned them into short-term rentals, and it was like a family thing they did together, and they take care of them together, and they're able to kind of build together as a family, and that's great. But I think where the conflict is that not everybody has that opportunity, and if there's more people trying to purchase second and third and fourth and fifth houses, that's where there's a lot of inequality, and there's not that opportunity for someone like you and me and everybody else to like have their first house. That's a big thing. So.
And I'd also, I'll let you put it. Like I like bring up is like, especially with the past few years with like COVID and whatnot, like I've noticed rents going up, like down the city and also up in this area. So it's like, even for somebody who's not looking for that home but just needs a place to stay, like rent is up the wazoo. It's kind of hard to save money for
while
that.
you're paying more. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you retain more when you're paying more?
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
that's a
you're
good
pushing
question.
your working class out the fucking door. That's basically what it's saying. You're pushing your working class out the door because they can't afford to live there. How are these businesses operate? You had this issue a couple years ago, a lot due to COVID, but now, I mean, not as many I shouldn't say that. Not as many people from across the seas come over to work in Lake George like they used to. So,
That's true.
you're going to push your people out. who maybe live in Lake George because they want to walk to work. So where are they going to have to live? Glens Falls. What's the problem with that? Public transportation doesn't start till June 28th. My mom is currently in this situation right now, and she walks 2 miles a day to work. That's her own situation. But, you know, if these things are going to happen, then it's like you can't subsidize vacationing, but you got to, you know, as a public official of the town, think about that. You know, when half those people who sit on that fucking board own half the goddamn town, you know, like,
whose interests do they have?
I think
It does kind of create that weird ethical dilemma of, like, is the board actually just a self-preserving special interest group?
I think so.
And just before I forget the point, before I lose my train of thought, I think what this unnamed business move really just shows is that, like, it's just another demonstration that business owners and a lot of people in positions of local government truly don't give a fuck about the local scene.
I agree with you.
And
I mean,
that is like, there's money grabs that are obvious, and then there's money grabs that, you know, aren't. But like this, it doesn't really take any level of like high resolution thinking to see like that this is literally just for those fucking shekels, dude.
I think there's like 2 points to that, and like one is I think it's really weird being a resident of Lake George and also a business owner in Lake George, because you love when people come and are tourists in your town and village, but at the same time you also hate it. And so it's like, okay, if you want to become a resident, you know, I feel like they have to have the same interest that we do, you know, to preserve what they like and why they came up to this area. And I don't know really how invested people are going to be if they're like buying a condo. It's essentially like, you know, I know. For instance, there's condos in Glens Falls, and a lot of them stay empty for the majority of the year until someone comes up and stays there, you know, a couple weeks out of the year, and they can rationalize paying what they pay for them. The other thing too is like with small businesses, like those are the businesses that need the help from the town, from the village to stay, you know, in business, because it's a tough business, especially like a bar venue business. It's like, you know, you've got late night hours, you're dealing with a lot of like hostile situations, you got your overhead, you know, your employees, everything else. So I mean, I would like to see the village do a little more to support their local businesses too, just to kind of rationalize, you know, you can still have a profitable bar venue and not have to switch over and, you know, make condos or whatever it is. Yeah, definitely.
You know, and then you were about to say something, Doug.
Oh yeah, it was like, I mean, going back to, well, like, you're saying that like all the like some condos in Glens Falls, you know, are not even being rented out, and it's like maybe like short-term rentals aren't like what people need. Like people need, I feel like there's a lot of people in Lake George who would love to live in Lake George like yearly, or even if it's part-time throughout the year, but like those are the properties that condos, short-term Airbnbs, that's not going to solve that.
So, and it's like, what do you do about that problem too? Because that's another issue too in Saratoga. So when I was working with those clients, I actually found out while I was working with them on a purchase that the city of Saratoga actually doesn't allow you to do short-term rentals for anything less than 6 months. All right, I think it's 3 or 6 months. I got to double check on that.
Well, I would imagine it's 3 only because of track season.
Track season, yeah. So, but short-term rentals, I mean, I've pulled up Airbnb and Verbo on my phone, and I'm like, I've walked by that house. I've walked by, like, I know where these houses are, like, and they're definitely, you know, right in my neighborhood, you know, short-term rentals, and, you know, it's like, how do you regulate that?
Right. Yeah, I mean, let's say you want to purchase a first-time home and you're raising a family, and, you know, 4 out of 6 houses surrounded by, you know, the place where you're raising your family is people coming in and out of town. You don't know them. Strangers, you know. That's, I didn't think about that till now, but
Oh yeah, dude.
That's a good
like
point.
what the ripple effect on the community. So
Yeah.
actually one of my old teachers from my high school days lives up West Mountain Way.
Okay.
Where on their one secluded road, they have like 3 or 4 short-term rentals. So in the town of Queensbury's, like somewhere in their like penal code and whatnot, they don't allow for. There was something that before the concept of STRs that came about, and I forget the fucking term for it, but basically like it's it doesn't allow people to stay in like, I don't know, whatever the midway is between staying at a hotel for a week and staying at an Airbnb for however long. But like, so it's already inherently written in and if Queensbury has it, I can only imagine how many other same level towns have it.
And that's the thing, it's probably there. It's just whether it's enforced or not.
Right.
And then how are you going to enforce it?
Yeah.
Because that's essentially the thing. Like, a lot of people, at least in Saratoga, are like, oh yeah, we're not allowed to have short-term rentals.
Yeah,
all right,
buddy.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it?
regulated is
Yeah, what are you going to do about it, you know?
Yeah.
Private calls.
Do you hold
Exactly.
Airbnb accountable then?
I think there should be people held accountable because, like, I think one town that did a really good job with this matter was Colony, because you technically have to be living in Colony to allow for your property to be rented. So you can't be out of town and just let them stay there. You got to actually stay in town. Let them stay with the other property while you're in town. Which, again, maybe, who knows how regulated that is, but I mean, I think with apps like Airbnb allowing for this new access, that just like other things, just like social media, just like any forms of new technology, AI, it's so new. How can you regulate it? What is the practice? We haven't seen any studies, you know, but what do we know from just Brooklyn? I don't know, I'm going there. Gentrification's a real fucking thing, man. Like, if you look at even parts of Albany, they don't even look the same. Like,
Troy is another big area that's been affected
Which
by
one?
that. Troy.
Okay, Troy as well.
It's the next stop off. You get off the train from the city. There's Troy. You know.
Yeah.
They've had, like, I've heard the G word dropped quite a bit about Troy. So I know, like, that's one area. And I like to think of myself as, like, libertarian, like, let everything happen the way it happens and everything will be okay. But unless there's, like, some, like, either it's not profitable anymore, like it's not profitable to own a short-term rental and there's another option that comes up
Tax on cigarettes.
that makes people think about it twice, it's going to keep happening. And so, like, the other thing I've seen that's really good actually is some places will do, like, first-time home buyer grants. So Glens Falls does one. They'll provide up to, I think it's like $15,000 for a down payment on a property. It has to, like, the city has to go in and they have to do their inspection and make sure everything's okay. But I mean, that's a huge chunk off of a mortgage, you know.
Yeah. I mean, so wait, is it like getting a $15,000 grant, or is this more like a PPP loan that you?
Oh, it's a grant. It's like they give you the money.
Is free
yeah, they put the money down on the table, on the closing table. So I mean,
that's really awesome.
Essentially,
yeah, I feel
you
like
have
that
got a
down
lot.
payment is the
Exactly.
hardest part.
Yeah, that down payment. How are you gonna, like you were saying, you know, how do you save up for a house when rents are going up as well? It's like you kind of need
20% down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that guy back in the day was right.
Who's that guy?
Yeah, what do you
Rent's
mean?
too damn high. I mean,
Oh, Jimmy
predicted
McMillan.
this.
Jimmy McMillan.
He did.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, he was a lot of things. He fought in Vietnam.
No way.
He got Agent Orange all over his hands. That's why he wears gloves.
No way.
He was a stripper.
Damn
And
straight.
then he became a musician, soul singer.
Wow.
Has one hip hop song about the rent being too damn high. Then went to California and did one on gasoline being too damn high.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
It's equally as much
he
of a Bob.
stole the show for the New York State gubernatorial race. Like, I
So,
hope he's doing okay.
just to kind of look at this in another way, what are some of the positives? We can go down the line. I thought of one.
Dude, you can make
Maybe-
so much fucking money.
Make so much money.
Make it rain.
And number two, but I was also thinking houses. It could positively affect a city like Glens Falls. You know, like
Oh, yeah,
Glens Falls
already.
is already on this trajectory to be something.
Well, Glens
You know?
Falls is going through this very strange business level and cultural level revitalization, where after basically almost the entirety of the 21st century seeing a total decline in the nightlife, bar, and social culture, and having that kind of come back up, and not even really being all that hindered by COVID. Like, Glens Falls is up to something. What? I'm not sure. I don't like it right now, and that's only because what made Glens Falls bar life great, what in its peak in the late, like the mid 80s to the mid 90s, before the mayor started cracking down and just shutting down bar after bar, was that you could go to any bar in any part of Glens Falls, and there was something for everybody at that time. And like you could see bands that were touring at a national level who maybe are like, I don't know, not like were once upon a time were the big thing, and now they're like, all right, well, we're 10 years in, we're not on the radio as much anymore, but we could play at this bar and still get $20 a head for people to come in.
Hot Shots.
Hot Shots.
Is that a place?
Hot Shots was very late to the party in that regard. But
but they were part of that, though.
They were a part of the last.
They did make a positive effect in that manner.
They had an effect on the manor, yes. And that location alone like has a lot of history to it. Before Hot Shots, it was Pitchers. Then that was owned by Dave LaPointe, Max, like, you know,
the pitcher himself.
by the pitcher
guy?
himself.
Who's that?
The LaPointes?
Dave LaPointe.
I don't.
Pitched for like
pitcher.
7 teams, won a
Wow.
World Series with the Cardinals, but I think was drafted by the White Sox. But dude, he's been to the Yankees. He's been to like 7 different MLB teams. And I had the privilege of working with with Dave Jr., Max, who is like just, in my opinion, the best bartender I've ever seen.
That's awesome.
Like the dude is just so normal. It's very weird.
He's a great dude.
But yeah, so Glens Falls bar life, and I guess where I see the future of Glens Falls going. I think it's a little too hipster right now for my taste. It doesn't, and
What do you think?
We need a little more grit, dude.
I can see where you're coming from. I like seeing kind of what's happening to Glens Falls, like with the revitalization of restaurants, especially. Like, you know, they're like
I will agree, yeah.
5-10 great restaurants like
yeah.
right in downtown, and so it's nice to have those like culinary like hot spots.
And all of them are, gotta say, all of them are better than Lake George.
Yeah, and you get
Every
to
one of them.
choose like which one. Like,
But, yeah.
I'll go to Pharmacy today. I'll go to Park and Elm.
Yeah.
I'll go to
Do you want to spend
Radici.
$10?
Like,
Do you want to spend $10 a plate? Do you want to spend $150?
yeah, the options are all out there. So I do
And they're
like
all
that.
colored, dude.
Yeah, I really like that. I think that's like a huge step forward that Glens Falls has made. And so I'm kind of on the fence with this whole issue because I don't think that Glens Falls would have gotten that attention if it wasn't situated between Saratoga and Lake George.
Well,
Very
the
good. I agree with that.
decline of Glens Falls bar life is what created Caroline Street. If a vindictive mayor didn't like literally systematically get rid of bars in Glens Falls, nothing what we know Caroline Street as, and even in its like peak hype pre-COVID, would not exist in any capacity. And you know, maybe there'd be some ripples from that would exist. I mean, Lord knows, like for the longest time, Gaffney's was in some deep shit because who would have thought it would be such a great idea to bring a New York City nightclub to downtown Saratoga?
Right. Know
And
your demographic.
Yeah.
If you're coming from
definitely.
downstate, know your fucking demographic. That's really it. Like,
Yeah, that definitely changed the whole vibe.
And I think that is what
and
I
that
do
was a
like
great
about.
place.
It was. Yeah, they
So
used to
many
have live
times.
music all the time,
Yeah.
bands and everything
Walt
else.
Adriatic.
Once upon a
Yeah.
time. But that's what I think I do like about. I think Glens Falls is on its way to once again having something for everybody.
Yeah, I do too. Like the
Like-
Park Theater is another great place.
Dude, awesome venue.
Underrated.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Shit like that gets overlooked. I'm like, I see acts coming in there, and then I see the pictures from the show. I'm like, there's fucking 10 people there.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Even
So you paid
farther
$6
out.
for that ticket. Come on.
Yeah, even farther out to like Hudson Falls, the Strand, with Jeremy Newell. He's done like awesome.
Newell.
Jonathan Newell. I'm sorry.
Crushes it.
Awesome work, and like he's got the whole lineup there. I like was on the page a couple days ago, and it's like he's got the whole lineup for the summer.
Yeah.
Like it's all set, and there's like good bands playing. So
I mean-
that's pretty cool to see.
It is. And just since I already brought up what I possibly could think could be a positive, we're going to go down the line. What do you think could, just playing devil's advocate, if you agree or not?
I meant to keep thinking about this while Brett was talking.
It's all right. We can go down the line, come back.
Bring it back.
What about you, man?
So, okay, we're talking about the positives that can come from...
Potential, yeah.
I mean, I did make the joke that you can make a fuck ton of money, but in an ideal world, bringing in more money does create... it doesn't create a trickle down in the way that, like, blue-haired people think, like, the economy works. But the reason that having... like, I guess the upside is that by having these types of investments in the area, like, that alone will create a ripple. It's not gonna turn into someone getting a raise at work. It's not gonna turn into somebody being able to all of a sudden afford a house. But what it is gonna do is create more opportunities to make money. When you have more money available, the pie gets a little bigger, and if you're smart, lucky, or connected enough, you can cut yourself off a little bigger piece. Perhaps. I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
I feel like if I lived in Lake George full time, it would have chewed me up and spit me out by now.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
hello.
It's tough.
I lived on a lake for the first 20 years of my
That's
life.
the thing. It's like you brought up a solid point, Brett. I mean, how could it? More people could be spending money at those restaurants, pharmacy.
But
You know.
but it's not getting back into the pockets of the people who fucking wash those dishes, sling those drinks, and
Right.
cook your food.
Those out-of-staters are going to keep that money, right?
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
Sure. What about you, man? I mean, you are the most versed in all this. So, like, what are
Yeah.
some potential positives you can see from some?
I mean, I know like the hotel on Canada Street was super controversial. Same thing with the expansion on the Fort William Henry Hotel.
Why? I gotta ask.
Just because, I mean, I was a little sad when I saw them tear down all those stores on Canada Street. I mean, there was Taste of Poland,
Oh, that-
John
oh,
Farley.
I-
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Oh, no, we
yeah,
meant
yeah.
Fort William Henry.
Fort,
Yeah, no, we all get
the
we
Fort
know
William
about
Henry.
that hotel.
Yeah. The Fort William Henry was like kind of, I don't know, some people were like, it's going to obstruct the lake view, a lot of stuff like that I've heard.
Okay.
But I think that it's good because, I mean, when I was a kid, you'd walk down Canada Street and it was like ghost dead silent. Like, you know, you didn't see anybody, like maybe one person down the street. And I have a feeling like it's nice to see like Winter Carnival is busier. That off season is changing a little bit. You know, how much is that going to change though? I'd love to see more like restaurants like, you know, same thing like the pharmacy of Lake George, like Gaslight and stuff like that start to come out, and more places like that being able to be sustainable. So I'm hoping like if there were more people in the area for the off season as well, then you could probably make a living having your restaurant open off season.
And that's the biggest positive. For sure.
Yeah, because I know, like, for instance, with my family, when we had our business, you make your whole year's salary in 3 months, and it's done.
Right.
And that's it. And hopefully you store enough up, and you're able to go and get through the rest. Otherwise, there's, you know, you don't get that much business to sustain yourself through Winter Carnival or anything else. So it would really be like seeing people start to come up and utilize that space in the times when everybody's not there, so that there's a little more life on the off season. That's one benefit. And then the same thing too, like what Brett was saying, it's like, yeah, you make a fuck ton of money, but also too, like, if I love my investors that I've worked with in Saratoga, like, and it's a family, and like I'm like, you know, they're making a smart decision and they're leveraging their money, and they can do that, and that's awesome. Where I'm conflicted, it's like that not everybody can do that. Not everybody has that same opportunity. So,
Yes.
you know, do you penalize someone for having that opportunity? I don't agree with that, but at the same time, like, you've also got to make more opportunities for, you know, the server and the cook and, you know, everybody else that's going to be helping out the person who's up here, you know, staying in their condo
For sure.
for however long. So
Yeah, and that's no, I mean those are all very good
Yeah,
points.
and I would say so. Once made, beautiful spot to stay. I bet those views
Yeah.
I would love to say
bet
that.
it's
Marshall, it's so clean.
I do hope that, like, I mean, I know they are hoping that this makes it more for season, and I definitely think Lake George does need that. I guess hoping that, I don't really see how condominium will make that happen. I feel like we need to invest more in businesses that are more year-round, because I think that's one thing that we would all like to see is Lake George being a year-round destination.
Yeah. Like Lake Placid almost.
But
Yeah.
Placid's
Yeah,
getting
that's
there,
true.
dude.
Oh yeah. Well, like with those investments, I mean, maybe like that will make somebody who didn't really look at Lake George, it's like, okay, we know one business there, I could maybe set up a shop or something. So hopefully it does bring in some good different businesses, but hopefully they are, catering to the population.
Definitely.
Well, do you think that, well, I mean, obviously both of you being Lake Georgians.
Yeah.
Do you think that that Lake George local government would ever be in a position to where maybe they could incentivize people looking to start a business if they can make one of those evergreen businesses that could stay open year round and function in a normal capacity?
Yeah.
Do you think such a thing exists? So I was trying to figure out who those people were.
What's going on, guys? No.
No.
Yep.
So,
sorry, we're
but yeah, sorry. So just to break the fourth wall on you guys for a second, about 5 or 6 Chads who looked like all of their dads were lawyers or owned car dealerships just asked us if we were open. Granted, the door is open. Okay,
Yeah.
that's all right. That's my
dude. We're
fault.
letting out so much AC right now.
We are.
But yeah. So do you think that there would ever be perhaps a situation where Lake George would incentivize someone looking to start a business if it means that it's something that could stay open year round and provide a good or a service that like could be needed year round, and it isn't something that's just gonna depend on like those 8 weeks to make $1 million.
Yeah. I would hope so.
Yeah, I think so. I got a serious answer and a funny answer to this. I think if bed tax has proved anything, just like for our festival, the town is dumping money into the town to get people to spend money here. So that's already actively happening on a contractor level, but it would be really cool to see something like that because, yes, it's either that or a business has to figure out how to become direct to consumer online when the shit hits when you have nothing going on. So you have to be selective with your business.
That's a hard business model.
And
Which-
restaurant industry is not really easy. Unless you're Cat's Deli, you're not going to be shipping Reuben.
Dude, even then, like most restaurants are making like 3 to 5 cents on the dollar.
And speaking
Yeah,
of
their overhead's
restaurants,
very
how many
small.
restaurants are going to be fucking left? I mean, like I was thinking about this.
How many places are year round in Lake George? Like
got
Lagoon.
The Lagoon.
Yep.
Barnside or partially.
And we're just
Partially.
And while we could talk about that, I think the bigger effect here is on the lake itself. You had King Neptune's, gone. You got Lake George Beach Club, only open on the weekends. And in the summertime, you got Lake George Beach Club, you got Taste of India, you got Christie's, and if you're a family, you're probably not going there because you're not drinking. And then you got the new hoity-toity place that was the Shoreline, and that's it. That's all you have on the strip. So where are you going? Where is that person going that
Blue
doesn't want to
32.
eat fucking cheese
Blue
pizza
32,
every day of their vacation? Like they're going to have to drive up to Barnside. They're going to have to leave the area. Let's say you are, it's just that to me. And funny answer to this all, and yet I'm very serious about this. I do plan on eventually trying to get involved with helping run the town. It is one of my dreams to become the mayor of Lake George, and I'm going to try to make it happen because if there's anything I learned from Mayor Blaze, it is giving back, being positive, and helping others is just going to come back to you. And that guy had invested so much into this town. Same with Luke Dow's father, invested so much into this town. You have 2 major players that are not involved anymore. One unfortunately passed away. One was the mayor, longest running mayor in all of fucking United States.
Yeah.
So somebody's got to be able to carry the thing.
Wow.
And you look at the town board. I'm not going to name names, but none of them, for the most part, have any interest. Only person I can give any praise to which I don't mind bringing up because it is in a positive manner, is Dennis Dickinson. That guy does a lot for our fucking county, and very, very good at his job. But he is also on the elder level of things now. So, you know, there's got to be
Some fresh blood.
that
Everywhere.
that isn't, money.
Yeah, definitely.
But we talked about this enough. So I just want to give a quick plug here. Wild in the Trees again, October 7th and 8th, 2023, Lake George State Plaza, 11 a.m. starting on Saturday, October 7th.
Dude, we're getting the band back together.
Getting the band back together, baby. And I also got to plug the YouTube channel. We're at 1,666 subscribers. We're trying to get to 2,000 before the end of the summer. And I think we could do it. The next milestone we got to hit is 30K. And I think we can do that too.
I think that's all feasible.
It's all feasible. Right now, if the way our subscribers are going, we're getting like 24,000 views every 28 days. And we're also getting like 28 subscribers like every week almost now. It's
awesome.
Crazy, dude. Like, I look at those numbers every day. We've made like almost $500 off YouTube, which is not a lot, but I mean, that just goes to show that you can do it. Mr. Beast isn't a fool. Mountain Sessions, just announced that. Going to stress myself out even more this summer, baby. We got mountain sessions, we got people in places, and then we also got camera reviews. We got Hey Skate Rat, we got Classless Bastards. We got like 9 active series.
Yeah.
Let's just give all
episode
each other
5.
fucking 5 here.
Episode
You guys
5
are
of
killing it.
Classless Bastards just came out at the time this video was posted. Episode 6 of Classless Bastards coming out a week from, I keep forgetting the delay. 6/20, what is it, the 30th? 23rd?
6:30.
Yeah, definitely the 23rd.
20th, real time 6:23.
Yeah.
All right, 6:30, Classless Bastards episode 6, the Vegas podcast.
Oh.
Nick Bull, my best friend and my cohort, really stepped up. Basically learned how to edit videos just out of nowhere. Editing this whole thing on his phone right now because he's a fucking animal.
Big shout out to Nick. Thank you for the birthday present, man. Go check out Classless Bastards. There will eventually be a way you can listen to it as well.
Yes.
So
Cassette
stay tuned for
tapes
that.
coming to a home near you.
Exactly.
Check your mom's house. It's already there.
Oh, snap.
So also we got Hey Skate Rat that's dropping.
Yep.
And
Got another one in the
already
works.
Dropped. Another one in the works already. Look at
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And then we got, another camera lens review. 7 Artisan 7.5mm fisheye for Micro Four Thirds cameras. Just did a review on that. Please go check it out. Other than that, Brett wrote, we wrote a couple actually, evergreen articles, top 5 easy hikes in Lake George region. If you want to get out in nature but don't know what you're doing, or maybe just want an easy hike to start and get your feet wet.
Pinnacle on there?
What's that?
Pinnacle on there?
Pinnacle is on there. This is actually, it's like the first or second on there. The first one I put was the gazebo hike. I just had to.
Gazebo hike for sunset.
Absolutely.
Pinnacle for sunrise.
Sleeping
go.
Beauty.
Yeah. This
To
man
get in
knows
with
the way the
Sleeping
sun
Beauty
sets
in
and
the woods.
rises. So, DX. We got some wrestling content, top 5 memorable DX moments with some honorable mentions written by the man himself. Not yourself. And then also, big shout out, huge shout out. Glass Pony, they just released their 3rd album, Washed Away, and I didn't know how they were going to top Nowhere Daydream, but this album is so good. There's elements of the Cars, elements of rock and roll, and just general. They transcend the word of what jam means. They are not a fucking jam band. So guys, stop working for Greg.
And work for us instead.
Or Brian Michael. He's a good guy.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
we also do have to give a shout. July 21st and 22nd Gem Festival in Glens Falls, New York. Another great event happening in the Northeast, in upstate New York, in between Saratoga and Lake George. Don't even make the trip up because you're not going to have the time, because you're going to be raging down at the T-shirt factory in Queensbury Hotel.
Yeah.
And they're going to be shutting down the street too.
It's
I
awesome.
love
They're
that.
fucking awesome.
shutting down. What
That's
street
cool.
are they shutting
Every
down?
street in the. No, I'm just kidding. I had to think about that for a second. I
Maple,
don't
I
think
think.
they're
I was like,
actually
wait a
shutting
minute.
down the
Is
street.
it? Oh, okay.
It's like, yeah, where's it? We're
I think
just
I
going to
got
put
it
a
mixed up.
disclaimer somewhere in there.
Maybe not.
Sorry, Brian.
You'll have to go and
Perhaps
find out.
Street closure.
Dude, yeah.
You'll have to go
Street
and find
clothes?
out.
Question mark?
Street clothes.
Wear your street clothes for the street
CLOTHES.
clothes?
Exactly. So now we're going to get into the last subject of this whole thing, which is what we've been watching, listening, and playing video games. Brad, since you're the guest, we're gonna go down. What's been some stuff you've been watching or listening or play? I don't know if you play video games. But I gotta ask just so I don't leave you out.
Yeah, so I watch Jury Duty actually.
Is that the Amazon one?
Yeah. So
good.
It was. So I first watched it on my own, and it's one of those kind of things that like I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was about. I clicked on it and I'm like, oh, let's check this out. And I'm like, this is bizarre. Like I don't understand this. And so then I rewatched it with my fiance, and we were watching through, and I knew what it was. One guy who didn't know anything about what was going on and how it was all fake, and it was a pretty awesome show. The ending is really good too when they
tearjerker.
When they share, hey, this is what's been going on.
This is the fake.
Yeah, they did a really good job with it. So
and he was really good. They picked a perfect guy to.
They did, yeah. So solid.
Wow.
Dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, man? What have you been doing?
Shit, dude. I kind of want to watch some. I never thought I'd say this in my life, but Jury Duty sounds kind of cool.
It sounds like a really cool car.
I remember seeing the ads for it, and I thought, like, wow, it made me really think of the things I would do to actively avoid jury duty. As someone who just got summoned like a week ago,
Oh,
I
snap.
just threw that right in the fucking garbage.
Oh, no.
What number were you? I was like 327 one time, and they let me off.
I don't know.
Hopefully it's up there.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're past number 12, in theory, it's like.
Yeah.
I just
you
like
should
how
be
it's like,
good.
hey, let's put you on jury duty. Oh yeah, we can only pay you like $20 a day.
It's
Exactly.
last
scrape
time
our
one of my
pennies
friends-
together for
you.
Last time one of
You know
my
I gotta
friends
take off from work,
did it,
right?
it was $38.
38.
That's wild.
Rent's
That's
too damn
wild.
high for $38.
Dude, yeah. But to watching, dude, been rewatching a lot of the original Joey Diaz podcast, The Church of What's Happening Now. It's just such a great podcast. And, like, just hearing Joey Diaz's like just trials and tribulations, and he's also just one of the most naturally funny fucking people I've ever heard.
Hell
Like,
yeah, man.
Like honestly,
is funny.
Joey Diaz is what dirty old men should aspire to be.
If you don't check it out,
and that is cute. And then been listening to a lot of like that, like post-punk, like Misfits, some Fear, a little bit of NoFX, and then obviously since us publicly acknowledging Wild in the Trees, you almost kind of have to listen to Circle Jerks a little bit.
you gotta. I saw you put that post with the song.
So yeah, I learned how to post things on fucking social media with music. That was a really awesome moment. And then
awesome.
had time to play some Arena of Valor the other day, the League of Legends knockoff for the mobile device. Dope ass game. I've been playing as this tank character Arthur, and then Nick has been playing with me as this marksman. So we make a good team. We are currently as a team still undefeated. And that's like after like 60 games together.
There you go.
pretty good.
So our collapse is going to be really rough when it happens. Well, what about you, dude?
I've been watching a lot of Guy's Grocery Games, which is it's a cooking
Yeah.
show. He gets like
Really?
they take over it like it's Guy's grocery store, but like I think they just take over a grocery store for the night. I don't really understand the concept
Just
because I'm like,
trash
all
the
this
place.
food would go bad if this is literally the only whatever. But it's like 4 people and like they have like 30 minutes and it's like always a twist, but they have to like literally shop and cook all their food in 30 minutes. Half of them do not get it done in time. I watched some cameraman like fucking hit a rack of wine. Everything shattered. It was crazy.
awesome.
So that's on Max. If you're interested in that. I've been listening to a lot of Dark Knight Diaries, which is just like a hacker podcast. It's all about hacking and fucking people on computers. I don't know how to do it. Super
you're gonna learn.
entertaining. I would love to. I listened to them. It's like, damn. Like if I knew how to do this, I would definitely be scamming motherfuckers. So won't learn because don't want to do that. And then also been like listening to like a summer 2016 hip hop playlist because like
Cool.
it's just bops and it's summer. So let's rage. Have not had any time for video games.
It's all right.
But what about you, dog?
I consumed a lot this week. Actually, I almost hit the full cycle yesterday with eating out fast food. I had Wendy's, I had McDonald's, and I had Burger King in PlayStation one day. I could have had Dairy Queen. I could have went another. I could have had Sonic. I was
Put
just
some
like,
Orange Julius in your life.
The fourth meal.
dude, I could go for a Julius right now, or a Jewel. Now, for listening, one band I didn't write down, which I was super kind of against listening because it was one of those bands where Fish heads were all about, and I couldn't understand why. And half the time when Fish fans like other music, it's shit I don't like. But King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard,
Oh
Dude,
yeah.
fucking awesome.
They're killer.
Yeah, I'm all
Dude,
about it.
every album's different. I was like, the album they just put out is like a thrash metal album. But like 3 albums before that, it's like this alternative thing. And apparently the thing is with them, they play all, like literally, like where people say, oh, Fish plays several different styles of music. They're still a fucking
Oh,
jam
dude,
band.
yeah,
This
yeah.
band was like
Yeah.
fucking insane, dude.
Yeah, they remind me
They're
a lot
cool.
of Ween in that regard.
I could see that.
Yeah, like just all over the place. And the craziest thing is, dude, they don't like do drugs. They're like, I'm pretty sure they're like completely, I don't want to say straight edge, but I think they're just sober.
Sober Australians don't drink the Fosters.
They don't drink the Foster.
Wow,
crazy.
that
And they
is
got a fun
crazy.
name too. King Gizzard and the Lizard
Yeah.
Wizard. I could say that all day long.
It is
Yeah.
one of the band names
Yeah.
that are fun to say. It's really hard to find one that's more fun than that.
Yeah, that's true.
And then once you can get over the name, I feel like then you start listening to music and it's
absolutely.
like so good. But that's one band. Tea Leaf Green, I was listening to. They're a band from like Mo era of jam bands that tried to make it alternative. They never did, but I started listening to them. They're pretty good. I somehow started listening to the Disco Biscuits for fun. That was interesting. Upside Down, the single from Glass Pony, so good. Like I highly encourage. I know I always say things are the best, this that, but I really was impressed by these guys' songwriting so much that it just doesn't sound like what they usually play, which is cool, which is what you want. I've been listening to some Cake, I Will Survive. Mike Gordon, I got a song stuck in my head that I listened to of him, and I remember why I didn't listen to that song because I did get stuck in my head before. It was Soul Food Man, great song, but I was up till like 4 a.m, like with the lyrics in my head, and I was just like, fuck me. Bluegrass, I've been listening to a lot of Chicken Pickin' lately. It just feels good. Widespread Panic.
Bert Kreischer's favorite band of all time.
Yeah, and apparently he's kind of a douchebag, that guy, Bert Kreischer. From some of these videos I've been watching about him, it's kind of changed my opinion on the guy. Apparently the guy lies a lot about some of the things he says, which you do in comedy, but like some shit that like other people
Like
he started the band. He started what was originally Creed, the band, and like was serious about this. And then Mark Tremonti, the guitarist, like fact check him. He's like, I've never met this guy in my life.
Wow.
And he was adamant about it. There's a whole. I'll send you the link. There's like a whole
Dude.
fucking hour video about like that
Bert
breaks down his
Kreischer's
bullshit.
claiming he started Creed.
Yeah, seriously. Like I like
what
along
quite the
those
claim,
lines, like
Dude, two of the reasons that I think that this is either like deep level sarcasm or just bullshit as a whole. Dude, if you're gonna lie big.
I mean, that's one of
And-
like 17 lies in this video.
That's
which
not.
made me think like
Creed
this guy's
is
a
not
loser.
worth 17 lies.
Right.
His arms wide open, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But, like-
yeah, My Own Prison, maybe. If you watch that movie about the school shooter, like
I will
that's
say
about
that
it.
first album's pretty good.
It's not 17 lies, pretty good.
But
But he wanted to be like Bert
He's a
Kreischer.
tryhard.
No, Bert Kreischer. Like he's said it in interviews before. He's like he loves he's an extrovert and he loves going to concerts. But like the one thing that always like kills him on the inside is that's what he always wanted. He wanted to be in a band. That's what he always wanted to do. Comedy just came after the fact. He wanted to. That's what he wanted to do.
he's still a loser in my book.
Damn.
Yeah, I just see him as like one of those like fake LA tryhard people who forgot where they came from, and now like because I hang out with Tom Segura, I can have opinions on
Tom
things
Segura is the
that-
man.
He's from New York City.
Yeah.
He's another guy I can't fucking stand.
Jesus Christ, dude.
I don't know. I'm more of like I like
Two
the
Bears, One
George
Cave,
Carlin,
no?
like Chappelle, like I don't know. We all like different things. That's just how I feel on it. I don't like Bert Kreischer at all. Watching,
I quit.
I watched this 2-hour documentary on the fiercest Mario Kart 64 competition that has existed since this website was made, MarioKart64.com. Basically,
Send me the link to this video. I
It
already
is
want to
so-
watch it.
Dude, I don't. Wait, you like Mario Kart 64?
I love all Mario Kart.
Dude, come on. No, I'm a more. Really, dude? I'm a Crash Bandicoot racing guy. Man.
I'm a Mario Kart
like
guy.
whatever.
Mario
Like you can like whatever you want. But
Yeah.
Have you seen the video
I
with
will
the
say
guy
I
who
have-
throws
but
the
dude,
shell?
Sega Superstars Racing.
I've been tempted
Come
to
on.
buy Crash Bandicoot racing on the Xbox just because there is no platformer racing game like that.
Yeah, there's no port like that.
Wait, what y'all know about Nickelodeon kart racers though? Because they do
I-
have that on Xbox, and it's not good.
I've pondered it. I've pondered
Or
it.
there's also like Beach Buggy Racer, a little bit better,
Yeah,
but not so good. It's not Mario Kart.
but this
Can't
was
beat
a
the
really good
original,
piece. Definitely go check it out. This guy made it like just to make this video, and it's this fierce and yet sad ending to the story because basically this whole community like fucked the one guy over, and like now the guy is like I think lost it like.
That's a bummer.
So that's one thing. Kyle Dunnigan, new Craig's News just came out. Definitely go watch that. A shit ton of wrestling clips because Brett got me down the pipeline.
Hell yeah,
J.R.E. Snowden, I watched a couple of his episodes. Well, I think there's only 2 with Snowden on there at this point in time. Curb Your Enthusiasm. That is such a good show. I still watch that religiously. Playing Red Dead Redemption 2, got a little farther in that. Skate 3, just while I was waiting for the update for Cyberpunk, which Cyberpunk just got back into playing that. I waited to play the last mission of that game because I wanted to be all the side missions, which is now what I'm doing. And I wanted to wait because Cyberpunk is now coming up with an expansion called Phantom Liberty, which is a continuation of the story. And that story, I've never like actually teared up from a video game. That's a fucking like, that's a sad fucking story.
Cyberpunk.
So good, dude.
Wait till you finish Red Dead Redemption 2, man.
I believe it. I know the ending of this. Red Dead
But
Redemption
wait
2.
till you experience it.
I can't wait. My cousin told me, he's like, the whole map's about to flip on you, where I am right now. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited to find that out. But Cyberpunk, people shat on the game because it came out buggy when it came out. But if you play it on PC, if you play it on the Series X, you're gonna have a great time. And it is the game of the future. CD Projekt Red makes some great games, just like The Witcher 3. Go check them out. But other than that, this is going to be one of our last episodes from here, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that's just because we're just too fucking busy.
Yeah,
man.
we're
Like,
being
we love this
we're being
place.
indicted on federal charges, and
Have to move to an undisclosed location.
Yes.
We're renting out a villa for the summer.
I know a place. Huh?
2 places down from your friend and mine, Edward Snowden.
And who knows, you might even be able to get caught skateboarding on private property right next to it.
Nice.
And go on, Judge Judy. But with that being said, this has been episode 49 of the Cheap Flights and Cornbread podcast. As all of you know, you can watch and listen to it on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube Podcast, YouTube. And early bird tickets are on sale for Wild in the Trees. You can go to mirth-films.com/wildinthetrees or go to the Facebook event or pay Brett in cash or go right on Eventbrite because you can find the tickets anywhere. You're going to save $15 when you buy them right now. And that is going to happen in total at this point in time, July 12th, that we will have these tickets on sale early bird wise. This is going to be a great lineup. Brett's been doing, dude, again, you are the
God's work.
MVP of the month, my man. Right
Sorry,
here,
my
high
eyes.
fives. Just, we're all crushing it, man, in our own regards. You're crushing it, man. Selling homes
That was
to
nice.
rich
Nice
people.
little.
You're crushing it.
That was
Fucking
nice.
keeping it real and just being the fucking man we all love, man.
Thank you.
And I just have to say, Brett, what do you got to do?
I mean, wait, you quit smoking, didn't you?
I did.
You guys vape. So, if you guys excuse me, I'm going to go smoke them. Because I
you got
have them.
Got him, everybody. Smoke him because he's got him. We'll catch you on
Smoke
the
them
next
because I got them, baby.